You all are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to work on number 7. So we're going to use a cooling system. We're going to pretend like we're fixing a cooling system on the Orion spacecraft, and we're using a button to turn on a fan. So in designs, and if you click on designs on the left hand side and then scroll down to circuits, let's take a look at all of our circuits. First of all, we're going to just use what we used the other day. If you haven't watched the other video, please watch the other video about how to hook up a motor to a breadboard. But for the so if you've already done this, let's just go ahead and let's just duplicate this project. Okay, as you can see, we have this project set up pretty much. As you can see, we have this project set up. So the only thing that we're going to add is we're going to add a push button in here. If you go over to the right hand side, we have a push button. And basically the push button turns something on and turns something off. So we're going to learn how to code this today. Also, I'm going to change the name of this to 7, and let's call it I'm going to change the name to 7, and I'm going to say I'm going to change it to 7 and say use a button to turn on a fan. So the name is 7, use a button to turn on a fan. And we don't have a fan in Tinkercad, but the motor will act as a fan, turning the blades of a fan. Let's go ahead and let's set this up. So we are going to put our motor in 27, 28, 29. So we're going to put our button in 27, 28, and 29. And now we need to connect this. For our fan, we are going to use pin 2. So we're going to click on pin 2 and drag that over to column D in row 1. And I think I'll just leave this green to indicate that this is a new connection. Okay, scratch all that previously. It's in a wrong row. We are going to put our button across the divide here in 27, 28, and 29, and it's going to go over the canyon in the middle of the breadboard. And now we're going to hook up pin 2. And now we're going to hook up pin 2 to 1D. And you can make that green just to indicate that it's different from the other wires. And then we're going to connect pin, and now we're going to connect pin 2 all the way down to the terminal 2A. And this is to establish a connection between pin 2 and this button. The next thing this button needs is we need to connect this button here. So we need to connect terminal 1B to the negative side of the breadboard. And I'm going to turn this black since it's negative. But the only thing is that we also have to connect the negative side of the breadboard to the other side because this is where we've hooked up our ground. So here's our ground. You go all the way down. It comes over here. This is negative here, and then over to the button. So I believe that's all we needed to put in there. So let's take a look at our code. First of all, the code is going to look very much different than we had before. So let's get rid of this stuff because we're really not going to use it. The first thing we need to do is we need to create a variable, and let's call this button. The first thing we need to do is create a variable, and let's call this button. We're going to put set button in the on start, and now we need to tell it how we want to set it. Well, look over here. Our button is connected to, look over here on the breadboard. Our button is connected to pin 2, so we need to hook it up to pin 2 in the code. So we're going to get a read digital pin, and we're going to put that inside the 0, and I need to change it from pin 1 to pin 2. All right, that's all we have for that part of the code. Let's look at the next part of the code. First of all, if you push the button, something is going to happen. Either the motor is going to turn on or off. So we need an if, then, else statement. So if you go to control, we're going to find if, then, else. And I'm going to put that inside the forever block. So if we turn our button on, first of all we need to get a math control. So we're going to pick the second one here, and we're going to plop that inside where it says true. So right now what we picked, if 1 is equal to or less than 1. So we want to know if our button is on high. So let's go back to our variables. Let's grab the button and put it in here. And then let's grab a high, and it is under the math controls, and it does say high, so I'm going to put that in there. So if our button is equal or less than high, Then we want our digital right pin to turn on high. So let's get a digital right pin. And this time you have to think, what pin are we going to use? What are we trying to turn on? We are trying to turn on our motor, and our motor should be hooked up to pin 1. So I'm going to change this to pin 1 because that's where our motor is. So if the button is on high, then the motor will turn, else the motor will be off. So let's get another digital right pin. And again, think about this. We don't have anything in pin 0. Our motor is in pin 1. So I'm going to check pin 1. And let's test our simulation. As you can see, our motor is turning. Let's push on the button, and then our motor turns off. And then I let the button go, and our motor starts running. Then we can turn the button off. So that's what we're going to do, and hopefully it's a little bit easier today because you already have the motor set up from the previous activity. I hope you have fun creating. Have a great day.